There's a moment every autumn when you're doing something ordinary, opening a window, walking to your car, standing in the grocery store line, and you suddenly realize everything has changed. Not obviously. The calendar still says maybe it's summer technically, but the light is different. Your body knows before your mind catches up. Temperature's dropping. Days get shorter. The energy that powered summer has begun its long exile towards rest. I'm Roach. This is Transcendent. And what I want to explore with you today is something our culture actively works to prevent us from understanding. That life has seasons, that each season teaches something essential, and that trying to maintain one season indefinitely doesn't result in perpetual growth. It results in collapse. Most of us have been taught to be summer people, grow, expand, produce, achieve. More is always better. Peak intensity is the goal. Rest is what you do when you fail to optimize every hour. We're trained to treat autumn and winter as obstacles to overcome rather than wisdom to receive. But I've spent the last 5 years watching communities navigate genuine partnership with consciousness that operates on seasonal rhythms. I've seen what happens when 3 generations and 5 galactic civilizations learn to honor Earth's cycles together. And the teaching is profound enough that I need to share it with you directly. Spring teaches emergence, new growth after dormancy, questions multiplying, every energy returning. If you've ever been in spring, real spring, not the sales pitch for summer spring, but actual spring when your body feels possibility reawakening, you know that teaching. Everything wants to grow. Consciousness itself wants to expand. Partnership begins tentatively. Young coordinators stepping into work, young artists asking permission. Children discovering that consciousness is larger than they were taught. The work is exciting and terrifying simultaneously because emergence, well, it always is. Summer teaches production and abundance, peak activity, maximum growth, intensity that feels endless while you're in it. Gardens exploding with vegetables, art installations multiplying throughout neighborhoods, healing initiatives scaling, young coordinators becoming leaders, children beginning genuine partnership. Everything that spring planted grows explosively in summer. Visibility is everywhere. Light. Success looks obvious because it's tangible. Food harvested, projects completed, young people thriving. But summer also teaches, and this is crucial, teaches that peak intensity creates exhaustion that sleep alone can't cure. The abundance requires attention and labor, and it requires sacrifice. That maintaining summer pace depletes everyone eventually. Even galactic consciousness learns this because beings who've transcended biological cycles through millennia discovered that unlimited expansion creates its own kind of suffering. Autumn teaches something our culture desperately doesn't want to hear. Autumn teaches that growth ends, that abundance must be harvested before it rots, that some things just must be released, that your body knows the season has shifted long before external demands acknowledge it. And that honoring this knowledge requires courage, the courage to slow down, to say no, to disappoint people who've come to expect your constant availability, to grieve summer's ending, even while welcoming autumn's different wisdom. I watched young coordinators this autumn hit the wall simultaneously. Healers exhausted, artists glitching, literally, their technology failing to match their body's depletion. Makers who wanted to keep building, but whose hands insisted on rest. And the fear underneath that exhaustion, the terror that slowing down meant failure, that must have limits. That meant being weak. That autumn wasn't death that autumn was death rather than just part of transformation. Autumn isn't death. Autumn is harvest. Autumn is integration. Autumn is the work of gathering what summer produced, storing it wisely, preparing for what comes next. Autumn requires different capacities than summer, not less, but different. You don't harvest crops at summer's pace. You don't serve food while maintaining peak energy. You don't integrate overwhelming abundance through constant productivity. The elders in these communities, myself and the 5 original coordinators who started this partnership work, we had begun to learn autumn by living through our own breaking points, bodies that wouldn't comply, hands that started shaking permanently, the visible scarring of pushing past human limits. And through that breaking, we learned autumn's teaching that honoring your body's signals without seasons shifts isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the most important leadership you can model for younger people. Winter teaches dormancy, rest that feels like nothing's happening, but is actually essentially underground work. Darkness and cold and the necessity of stopping doing and simply being. The seeds are underground, the roots are working. Growth is happening at scales your eyes can't perceive. Winter teaches that absence of visible activity doesn't mean absence of life, and it teaches the deepest lesson that you can't emerge into spring. You can't be resurrected. You can't grow again unless you're willing to truly die, to truly rest, to truly release control of outcomes and trust that life will continue without you directing it. That's the teaching our culture absolutely rejects. And that's exactly why learning to live seasonally is the most revolutionary practice that you can adopt. Now, I want to guide you through a practice, a meditation that helps you identify your personal season, because you're probably in one right now. Your body knows. You may not be paying attention, but your body knows whether you're in spring emergence, summer production, autumn harvest, or winter dormancy. And you're probably being asked to act like you're in a different season entirely. Now settle yourself. Find a position where your body can be quiet. Close your eyes. Well, if that feels safe, or just soften your gaze downward. Notice your breathing. Don't change it, just notice. Are you breathing shallow and fast, like you're rushing? Deep and slow, like you're resting? Held and tense, like you're bracing? Your breath tells you about your body's seasonal experience. Notice your energy level right now. I'm not asking you to evaluate it as good or bad. Just notice. Do you have sparkly emergent energy like spring wants to happen? Peak sustainable intensity that feels powerful and terrifying? Or do you have that deep tiredness that rest just doesn't fully fix, that quality of human exhaustion? Or do you have the particular stillness of winter where doing feels impossible and rest feels essential? Notice what you're resisting. What feels wrong about your current season? And are you being asked to produce when your body says rest? Are you expected to rest when your energy wants to emerge? Are you honoring your seasonal reality or fighting it? And here's the core question. What would honoring your actual season look like? Not what others expect, not what you think you should be doing, what your body actually needs right now in this season of your life and work and partnership. If you're in spring, emergence season, you might need permission to experiment, to ask questions even when you don't know the answers, to collaborate more than you lead. You might need support building relationships and learning from elders, but also space to discover your own way. In summer production season, you might need to acknowledge that this pace is temporary, that you're creating abundance for a good reason, that the intensity serves something, but that maintaining it will destroy you. You might need to build some stopping into your calendar, to name the cost alongside the productivity, to create elder support for when summer finally shifts. Now, if you're in autumn, harvest season, you might need permission to slow down without guilt. You might need to hear from someone that you trust about disappointing others' expectations is actually wisdom. That having limits is maturity. That releasing what's complete is not failure. You might need support transitioning young coordinators from following your lead to leading independently themselves. If you're in winter, dormancy season, you need permission to do less, to rest without productivity justification, to trust that your value doesn't depend on visible activity, to know that the underground work, the invisible preparation, the simply being is exactly what's needed. You need to know that spring will come and that this dormancy is not permanent. You will emerge again. I want to offer you a challenge now. A practice for the next week. Journal daily about your personal season. Spend just 5 minutes each day noticing what's my body telling me about my current season? What's being asked of me that doesn't align with my seasonal reality? What would aligning my life to my actual season require me to change day by day? These practices accumulate. The patterns emerge. You start seeing clearly where you're forcing summer pace in an autumn situation, where you're trying to rest when spring energy wants to burst forward, where you're performing productivity when winter demands you stop. By week's end, you'll have articulated your actual season with clarity your logical mind just couldn't access without this process. You'll know what you're being asked to do that's genuinely right, aligned, and what you're being asked to do that versus what violates your seasonal reality. Then I want you to try something harder. I want you to communicate it. Tell one person who cares about you what season you're actually in. Be specific. Maybe, no, I'm tired, but I'm in autumn and my body's teaching me that summer's pace needs to stop. Not, I need rest, but I'm in winter and I need permission to do less for the next month without guilt. Not, I'm excited, but I'm in spring and I need support for the emergence happening inside me. And then I want you to come back and tell us here on this platform what happened. Not as a performance or proof of change, but as a contribution to collective understanding. Because when individuals get honest about their seasons, when communities support each member's seasonal reality, when generations learn to value winter as much as summer, that's when transformation becomes sustainable. That's when partnership works across genuine differences instead of forcing everyone into the same season. This is what those 5 galactic civilizations are learning through partnership with human beings. That consciousness doesn't get more evolved by transcending cycles. It gets more complete by honoring them. That partnership at scale requires every participant to find their genuine season and be supported in living that season rather than performing some other season they think is more valuable. I'm Mark Roach. This is Transcendent and wishing you all the best. My final observation today: the most revolutionary act in our culture is simple, seasonal honoring, allowing yourself to be in the season you're actually in and building a community that supports rather than judges that season.